Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel, JBC365. I'm Maciej, former gambler turned receptionist, and in today's video I would like to continue the Sarah Dosanjh University, and I would like to discuss the concept that she has actually discussed in her latest video, and that is unconditional permission to eat. And what I love the most about her video, and what I think is the most valuable, is not really the final conclusion, but she's displaying her ability to learn. She's not giving us just her final conclusion. Oh yeah, this is this, and this is the dogma you should follow. But she is, I feel like a part of her journey because of that, because she introduces the concept, but also admits why she failed using this concept at the beginning, that why this was problematic, and that she was experimenting and learning. And I think this constant process of learning is the most valuable here to learn. And this will be a spoiler, but I encourage you to watch her video first and then potentially come back here to listen to my comments about it. But eventually she rejected the idea of unconditional permission to eat because she prefers to have one small condition, and that, as of now, as far as I understand, is her most current approach, philosophy to permission, to unconditional or conditional permission to eat. And even though I disagree with her final conclusion, I don't hold the same conclusion basically, but I think, like I said, the most valuable here is this openness to question your current set of beliefs, my current set of beliefs. And I think ultimately this is where the biggest source of my peace of mind comes from. This I'm not scared that I will find out that I'm wrong about something. I'm welcoming this opportunity to learn, basically. And so I think the absence of peace of mind comes from absence of clarity and this belief that what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? I don't want to be wrong. We are in denial of possibility to be wrong. And this humble approach where I'm happy to learn, basically. I'm happy to find out I'm wrong. This is the most valuable here for me. But having said that, let me suggest another type of critical thinking, critical approach to the idea of unconditional permission to eat.
Concept of unconditional permission to eat. This is a very tricky concept if you're someone who struggles with binge eating.
First of all, I don't believe that this is a tricky concept for those who struggle with binge eating disorder. I think the unconditional permission to eat is unconditionally tricky for everybody in any language, because first of all, in our language, I think nothing unconditional exists in this world.
No such thing as unconditional love. That's a load of fucking bullshit. My mum always throws that one out there. My mum always goes, Jim, I love you no matter what, I love you unconditionally. And I always think to myself, what if I cut one of her tits off? What if I just got a rusty blade and started hacking into that obese woman's breast? And, would she still love me? She might. I'm not willing to test it, but I can tell you for sure, that God does not love you unconditionally. I have already given you a condition. If you don't put a small amount of water on a baby's forehead, it burns for eternity. That's the condition.
Regardless if we take the language of science, the language of English, whichever language, let's take the language of mathematics, and without conditions, it basically doesn't make sense. Let's take 2 plus 2. I have 4 marks here. It's 2. Plus 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. But only because we agreed that this is 2. This is 2. If we didn't agree on that and we had some other conditions or lack of conditions, if I said that to you, like 2 plus 2 is 4, like what the hell? Like that wouldn't make sense. So we basically need some conditions for the language to make sense. I hope that makes sense. But leaving aside this a little bit of philosophy, let's use our intuition, which is another problematic concept, but I will get to it in the future videos, hopefully. Let's use maybe common sense, like general how we understand unconditional, and let's focus on permission. And I think we are also confused about this word, because like we almost never ask ourselves who is responsible for permitting, like who is the authority that is required to give or not give permission. And so let's take an example of me killing another person, for example. Am I permitted to kill another person? I think in a common sense, it would be about authority, that is, the country, the state created some laws. And let's say, for example, that I am a person whose job is, like, I'm responsible for executing a death penalty. Then, obviously, I am permitted, I am allowed to kill somebody. But even as a regular person, I am not permitted to kill anybody according to the law. But the law is not the only authority that is available in my system, in my paradigm. Another important authority is like social norm, for example, social pressure. And another authority is me, myself, and I, basically. And I have a different law. I have a different set of values, different set of rules than the state, than society. And I think when it comes to eating food, I think this is the most important authority we're talking about. This is actually what we mean when we consider what's permitted and what's not permitted. We have our own set of rules, restrictions, preferences, ideas, what's right, what's wrong, and let's consider that for a moment. For me, what's permitted, it's not about what's best for me, what's good for me, what's not good for me, because like, am I permitted according to the state law, for example, to eat grass? Yes, I am. It's not permitted. It's just stupid, but I am permitted to do that. And according to my own set of rules, according to my personal subconscious law or whatever law, I'm permitted to eat anything, really. And whether it's good for me, it's bad for me, it's another question. And I think the main pressure, the main restriction-related pressure that creates this unnecessary stress and therefore sense of guilt is because we don't understand our own law, our own set of rules. And basically the rule is you are permitted to do anything. You are permitted to eat grass, you are permitted to eat junk food, you are permitted to eat vegetables and fruits, and you are permitted to eat nothing at all. You are permitted basically anything. And it's not like the most important thing is it's not about what's good for me, what's bad for me, it's about what's permitted. We are analyzing what's permitted, and permitted is pretty much everything. And so it's not about it's all about being truthful to myself, and that is the most truthful answer I can come up with. Yes, I am permitted to do anything. I am permitted to eat this microphone if I'm technically able to do that. Or I could eat a boxing glove. The last question is, how helpful is it for me to know that I am permitted to eat anything? It is helpful to me, personally, because it removes pressure and it removes any foundation for any restrictions that I might have had in the past, where I was really stressed about my diet. I was really, I had a lot of, tension within my, like, oh, I shouldn't do this. And I was like never present because of those like false restrictions that I felt, but that were not true actually. And so once I remove all this unnecessary bullshit, then I can have some more clarity in my mind that already creates a lot of peace of mind. And then I can focus on the useful questions, such as, okay, if I know that I can do anything I want, what's best for me? And this positive message is, there is a subtle difference, I know, but it actually changes a lot. Like when I remove all the restrictions, suddenly there is a lot of clarity, there is a lot of like positive communication within myself that, okay, I know I can have everything and what's best for me. And then I can choose and create my environment very mindfully, like without unnecessary restrictions, unnecessary pressure that doesn't help me at all. So yet again, I will keep probably referring to my basic model of, presented in the video, how to fix binge eating disorder immediately. It's about improving my own language, and I am permitted to eat anything, but is it optimal? This is the right question. Like, what do I want rather than what am I permitted and what am I not permitted? It's a subtle difference, but it's a great difference. For me, understanding this helped significantly. And so creating my environment, creating my diet, or basically choosing what I eat, whichever term you want to use, is basically more joyful, I treat it more like a computer game that I enjoy. Oh, I didn't get the points. Oh, I did get the points. Oh, something. I treat it seriously, but not too seriously. And I'm just enjoying the journey, and that's fine. Like if I don't know, for example, if I eat for any reasons, for example, if I eat like 8 sandwiches from McDonald's or whatever, I understand the reasons, and I know that I was permitted, so there is no huge sense of guilt. There's just, oh, I failed on this level in my game, and then let's try again playing tomorrow. Yeah, I hope it all makes sense to you. If it doesn't, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to clarify. Basically, understanding truth behind the concept of unconditional permission removes unnecessary restriction, unnecessary pressure, and then I can focus on like what's the best strategy for me, and not which strategy is permitted to me, because anything is permitted, and so let's choose in the best way. It's a process of happy, joyful creation, rather than feeling like a slave to some rules that I don't really believe in. And yeah, I think that helped me significantly. Understanding this created a lot of peace of mind, and I find a lot of joy in it, and this is why I decided to share with you. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll be very grateful for any feedback you can give to me. Like, did you understand what I mean? Was it helpful? If you disagree, please, I will be more than happy to hear that. So once again, thank you very much for listening, and hope to see you in the next video. Take care.